The Slicicle is a fantastic melee that came out kind of a while ago. I made my first initial video on it, and then I think I made a follow-up, and then just never talked about it again. See, Epic made the wise decision to release the Slicicle during a water season. If you don't know what that means, I'll link my Mutant versus Mini-Boss season video down below, but what that means is generally some seasons we have all the 4-player missions being water, or nature, or fire. As I'm recording this, we are currently in a firestorm season, so pretty much every 4-player mission that I would like to play is the Firestorm, which is perfect because that means the Water Slicicle will be doing 100% of its normal damage. If you are lost and you're a new player who doesn't know elements, I'm going to also link that video down below. It explains everything clearly, but suffice it to say, you want to use a water weapon in a fire season. So, since that's going on, and I haven't talked about this weapon in a while, I figured I would go ahead and record a video on the Slicicle. Now, I am not necessarily showing the best perks in this video. I'm going to link that video down below as well if you guys want to build your Slicicle to your specific needs, because it's kind of weird. All right, you can have crit rating, crit damage, but you'll be giving up attack speed. As you can see in this build, I'm doing double crit damage specifically because of my loadout, and it's just depending on what you're doing, the perks will change. So for this specific video that I'm recording, we're going to be doing double damage, double crit damage, because the Slicicle actually has a decently high base attack speed of 0.47. There are a lot of weapons in the game like the Storm King's Ravager, which with an attack speed perk gets down to 0.4 seconds. So with no attack speed perk whatsoever, this thing's all the way up to 0.47, which is actually, like I said, pretty good. So with double crit damage, a Ben's Warcry from the stream, Twitch link down below if you guys ever want to watch these live, let's talk about the build that makes this possible. First and foremost, the commander is Assassin Sarah. Editing Beast is showing the base version of her. I use the Founders one because I can, but she ups your damage by 90% once you're fully stacked up, and that is a lot. Simple as that. Totally Rocking Out is, of course, going to allow us to crit more often when it's active, and we are activating that with Fumble, which will give us footballs on the ground when we kill enemies, and Battle Beat, which will activate Rock and Riff after 10 eliminations in 9 seconds. That counts traps and drones, by the way, so if you put down traps and throw your drones and you're killing enemies with your weapon, she should be active a lot. Then we got Paleoluna, just because we're swinging fast, she adds damage, it's kind of nice. Now, to keep us alive, we do have Totally Rockin' Out, which heals us periodically, but Arlene Iza will convert a lot of our weapon damage, which is very high with double crit damage, into health, which is really, really good. I don't normally use her in a triple attack speed Paleoluna build because you're not doing that much damage with your weapon. Most of that is coming from Paleoluna and your weapon's attack speed delivering that damage. But because we're doing double crit damage, hitting hard with the Slicicle, as you can see, our health is going up tremendously. It's a really good combo. If you guys want to build your own ninja loadout and you want to learn all about Arlene Iza, triple attack speed Paleoluna builds, I get into everything in my ninja loadout video. I'll link it down below so you guys can check it out. It's really, really in-depth. It talks about every good support perk, every good commander, and as soon as you watch that whole video, you'll understand exactly why I fell on this build for this weapon. And finally, like I said, our loadout allows me to not have a crit rating perk, and that includes Whiteout Fiona. Now, Totally Rockin' Out will increase our crit rating by a ton, making her redundant, but Totally Rockin' Out is not always active. I need to get a few kills. At a 7% drop rate for Fumble, I'm going to need 14 kills on average to get started, and Battle Beat requires 10 kills to get started. So what am I going to do when I don't have it active? Whiteout Fiona is going to up our crit rating by a little bit, so going from a base 20% crit chance up to 37.5 should be good. And if a teammate runs Boom Base, which I don't think is happening, maybe one of them will now that I said it, that can get me up to like a 50% crit chance without the team perk active, which is really, really good, and that's it. So I haven't mentioned the 6 perk at all, but it'll freeze enemies periodically. You'll see that a lot. It's a nice little bonus, and it's unique to this weapon. So yeah, let's hop into our fire zone here and check out the Slicicle. I never mention cosmetics in this game, but I feel like the Skullsicle pickaxe is pretty fitting. Running over to the first group of enemies here, I don't need any setup at all. I don't have coconuts, I don't have wafers, and you can see that 8th hit freeze is so good, blocking everything in place. Totally Rockin' Out's active, and everything dies. Moving on to this crowd, super easy. I probably don't need to spend too much of this video killing 160s. We might want to just find some big targets and start this defense nice and early because you can see nothing is surviving this. Can we find a Mist monster or something? Okay, so if we get everything nice and close together, maybe we can freeze them all at once. I mean, this weapon's really, really good without any help at all, so long as I'm not being slowed down. So yeah, let's find a bigger target to toy with. Since I'm using Paleoluna, by the way, I know she's in support, but upping our health by 25% is still gonna help. So let's try something here. Let's kill a bunch of enemies nearby this Mist monster, freezing them in place. Run over, and with it active, Totally Rockin' Out, yeah, critting a ton. Double crit damage is going a long way there, and just makes quick work of a 160 Mist monster. So I think the rest of this video should be power level 250. So we're pretty much ready to start here. I got some basic tire traps placed directionally. If you're facing this direction, they'll go in the opposite direction. So long as this green little pipe here is facing out that way, it'll stagger enemies in that direction, which is really useful. And our teammate is running boom base. So our non-toy rocking out crit chance is 48%, which is pretty good. And I have a lot of confidence in this weapon and my team. We know that if the traps get broken, we can replace them. We were playing together earlier and we're all kind of on that same page, I hope. So in theory, we should be ready to just start and get straight into it. Now, I'm going to say this nice and early. This thing is probably not a smasher killer, all right? This is a decent crowd clearing weapon. You can see freezing all these enemies in place is really, really effective. And with Toy Rockin' Out active, it's making very, very quick work of a mist monster. But if I see any smashers, I don't know how effective I'm going to be. And we are heavily reliant on Arlene Iza to save us. And apparently, we're not getting enough. Now, I am standing inside of, is it slowing pool or acid pools? It is slowing, but we do have frenzy death burst. So I think that's when I kill an enemy, they all get mad at me. I don't know the exact one. Gee, if only there was a place where I could read more about it. When enemies die, yeah, it buffs them all. So that could be a big deal. I never make any mention of Frenzy Death Burst, but a commenter on stream mentioned it recently that it's the bane of melee builds. And now I kind of see what they mean. You kill one enemy in a crowd, and then all the other enemies just swarm you harder. And that is a big deal, especially with slowing pools. You can't get away. If they're doing more damage to you than you are to them, especially if there's a beehive nearby, that makes it very difficult to actually heal yourself. So that's something to consider. But honestly, we're having a pretty easy time right now with very few enemies to pick from. Let's start with the beehive because they're going to do a lot of damage. And the freezing, of course, is awesome when enemies are nearby. But this is a breeze right now. This is a breeze. I'm just cherry picking the big boys and they're all going down so easy. I feel like we should funnel these enemies better, but I just wanted to showcase the Slicicle and everything it was good for because this is just honestly a fun weapon. It came out with a weird combination of perks. You can have like attack speed and crit damage, which is a good combo. I'm doing double crit damage, obviously, for the big numbers. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You see how it staggers them backwards? And, yeah, with the Frenzy Death Burst, I'm not quite doing enough damage to heal me, which is kind of scary. Kind of scary. Makes me wonder if I have the correct build on. I do. We got Monster Smash right there. This might just be a combination of Frenzy Death Burst and Fire. So not only are enemies hitting me for harder and more often, but they're also setting me on fire and causing residual affliction damage, which is really hard to heal off of. So with beehives and everything mixed in, propane's in my face, this is just a really hostile mission. Something that would definitely help me in this scenario is Prehistoric Iza. That's a big recommendation to everybody. If you're having a hard time staying alive in a melee build, throwing her in support can raise your armor by a ton because, as you can see, I currently have shield, but that's because everything's frozen. It does not take long for the shield to go down. In fact, right now is like a really weird edge case where I actually have my shields up, but right now is more than likely how you'll be spending your time as a melee user. No shields, just standing around, health only, and that's a really, really good time for a health pylon or Arlene Iza to be active because she requires you to have no shield. So now we seem to be getting kind of a hang of it. As long as these enemies aren't strictly attacking me, it's all right. And one thing I can absolutely do is add floor freeze. Sometimes it feels disingenuous to like add a trap to the mix, but traps exist and we should all be using them. So as long as you can have a trap down to freeze enemies in place, stop them from attacking you, on top of that 6 perk, keeping them frozen even when the trap's off cooldown, you can have a really good time. So let's do 4 traps just like this. And then one more thing is a healing pad. Okay, I need to recycle my inventory, you guys. Whenever you're killing lone animals, be sure to be on top of that. There we go. Healing pad, and coconuts would go less far than a Blast from the Past build because I have less health right now than I normally do because Toy Rockin' Out makes it a bit of a glass cannon, as demonstrated. But coconuts are a nice way to get some extra health, but Arlene Iza should normally work, so yeah. This is actually a pretty casual mission so far. Oh, I was going to make a cut, but we got a whole lot to kill right here. A bunch of enemies all in one place. Super satisfying. Slicicle, man. It's a weapon that I feel like a lot of people might have forgotten about. Like I said in the intro, this weapon came out during a season pretty much when nobody could use it. Like, it came out with 1 week where you could voucher it and then maybe use it in a fire mission, and then the rest of the season was water only. So this weapon was doing 67% of its normal damage for the entire first like 2.5 months that it was out. You got 1 week where you could voucher it and then use it however you wanted. And I did that because I'm a YouTuber, of course. I have to show you guys a new weapon ASAP as possible. But then, okay, I warned you. I warned you that I might not... Oh, that counts on smashers too, doesn't it? Okay. Okay. How much time are they frozen? Because that seemed like a long time. Every 8th hit freezes, causes a freeze. Well, I don't know exactly how long that freezing is, but that is a long time to be frozen. So if I go up to a smasher, maybe if I grab a football like this while dodging the smasher attack, that looked like an expert move, I'm not gonna lie. I jumped over the smasher as he went to smash me, and used that jump to get over to the football. And now he's frozen because he's on the floor freeze. So that's actually really effective. Okay, let me see if I can... All right, he's frozen on the floor freeze now. Okay. All right, you know, I prefaced, I got ahead of it and said this might not be a good smasher killer, but dang. As long as you can freeze him in place, that's actually pretty good. Got to get the defender up. Somebody gave the defender a melee? Bruiser? Okay. Is that a Stormblade? That looks like a slicer. I think that's a Stormblade. Yeah, so... All right, let's find some other targets. We got another smasher. Yeah, I went from saying it wouldn't be that good to realizing that I was so wrong. We just need 8 hits and then the smasher's not freezing now. Was I mistaken by the floor freeze earlier? Is it not meant to freeze smashers? I don't understand. Got some normal enemies here. Got a mini boss now. I doubt we can freeze. That's trap vulnerable. All right, so when it's trap vulnerable, just keep it in front of the traps, people. Don't shoot it. The amount of pot shots I see get shot at trap vulnerable. The dischargers. That's not the way to do it. It's not the way. Might have been Zenith, but it doesn't freeze mist monsters. All right. I have been corrected. AS407, melee expert in our chat, mentioned that somebody might be running Zenith, and I think it's M. Falcon. Yeah, that looked like Zenith, so I think I'm mistaken. Zaku, M. Falcon in chat here, definitely threw me off guard there. See, if that freeze affected mist monsters, we got like a live example of how that would be a perfect way to make this weapon really, really good. I mean, it already is good, as you can see. I'm having a hard time staying alive, but this mission's kind of brutal and I'm being trash. But if it froze mist monsters, how good would that be? I mean, the normal guys here don't survive long enough anyway, but for smashers, that'd be so good. Well, either way, it might be a little too broken. I don't think there's any other way to freeze a smasher. You've got Ice King, floor freeze. Can Ice Queen freeze mist monsters? I think she can. And then Zenith. So I don't think there's any normal weapon. Well, can the Blizzard Blitzer freeze with that 6 perk? Man, now I'm trying to figure it out. Because I'm trying to figure out if it's balanced that this doesn't freeze, or if that's an oversight and it should. Because it doesn't seem to specify that it doesn't work on mist monsters. And it'd be really unlike Epic for a weapon to be bugged. Okay, passive aggression is not productive. I don't want to... The game has some bugs, all right? It happens. It's rare... It's not unlike Epic to have a weapon released with a bug that goes unfixed forever. I still don't know if Frenzy from the primal weapons is even working as intended still. But, you know the invasion weapons, the like instant death after like 15% health remaining? I still don't think that's even working, but regardless, the freeze might be meant to work versus mist monsters. I'm not sure, but honestly, the damage is fine. I just wanted to show off this weapon, remind everybody that it exists since it had kind of a poor release, but there you go. There's my choppy video. Not my cleanest recording with all the deaths and mistakes, but I just wanted to show you guys this weapon, all right? If you guys haven't used the Slicicle and this video goes up during the fire season, okay, here, there's 2 possibilities, because I have a crazy upload schedule, and I usually record a lot of videos at once and then edit them slowly. Either you're watching this during a fire season, in which case, thumbs up, go give it a try. Or I'm releasing this when the weapon comes back out. In other words, pick up the weapon and use it during a fire season, because it's actually pretty good. All right, I'm out of here. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys want to use this exact same loadout with an attack speed perk, it should work great, but I think one game is good. So I'm out of here. Also, Frenzy apparently has been fixed. Epic didn't tell us, but apparently it's fixed. So thank you, AS, again. And then...